I've been holding up with the baby.
Good.
Like, I was like, college across. Hi guys, my name is Kristen and I am the Director of Strategic Partnerships for Meyer Natural Foods in Loras Lean.
And I'm Mallory. I'm the Community Relations Manager for Meyer Foods in Loras Lean.
We are super excited to kick off Fueling with Friends, where we are going to be featuring our fabulous ambassadors and talking about fuel and their journey and how it all coincides and highlighting them ideally once a month, so stick with us.
Hey everyone, I'm Julianne Potter, USA Women's Rugby player and 2016 Olympian.
And I'm Skip Miller, owner of Front Range CrossFit and her personal cook.
Yeah.
So we're going to be making chicken soup today. For us, chicken soup, this is the soup that I made when Jill was going through chemo. And I showed up on her very first day of chemo with this big cooler full of chicken soup for her and meat sauce, like Italian meat sauce for her wife, whose last name is Fabrizio. She appreciated that. And but it kind of turned over in the end of where like this is basically all she ate for
4 months.
For 4 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's super simple. It's literally 6 ingredients and a little bit of spicing, and then kind of how you do it, how you build the soup actually makes the biggest difference for how it actually turns out and how it tastes.
Yeah, I think the broth was probably the most important. It has a lot of minerals and protein and fat that would give me a lot of energy.
Yeah,
It was the only thing that I could keep down. During treatment. So.
Yeah. This is actually only 6 ingredients that I make in the chicken soup. I like that. We've got onions, potatoes, celery, carrots, and Loras Lean chicken. I use about 3 pounds. So I'm making, today's recipe is going to make 9 quarts of soup. I use about 3 pounds of Loras Lean chicken, 2 onions, a pound of celery, and a pound of carrots. And then, but probably the most important part of the soup is the chicken stock and chicken broth that I made yesterday. So this is actually, this is the chicken stock here. This is the culmination of 3 whole chickens, 2 pounds of onions, 2 pounds of celery, 2 pounds of carrots. I roast them for 3 hours in an oven, and then I boil it for an additional 3 hours. It breaks down everything really into this. This does not look like normal chicken stock, but kind of like a lot of the flavor and everything is that slow cook process that, and this is what we're gonna be making soup with today. Like I really started to make all this big batches of soup when we started doing it for you.
Right.
And so now like basically every soup I ever make, and I make like 6 or 7 of them, it's all, they're all made in this 9-quart cast iron pan. So like, even though there's only a couple of us that's eating it, we make these huge batches and then freeze them. And that's why like this particular recipe, it's super simple. This is I had a request to make this, name it, so it's Skip's Super Chicken Soup.
No,
she no. No, like
sir to the face.
No,
I was in the receiver.
What was
of
that?
the soup.
That's huge, right?
Yeah.
Wait,
No,
Jill, you've never actually cooked this before?
No,
No.
never.
Are you gonna say that? She deserves it.
No, she's never been in the room when I cook the soup.
No.
Even though like, so I used to make this soup, 18 quarts of soup every 3 weeks while she was in chemo, because it ended up being all that she could eat. So like I would, every Sunday, like I'd start cooking at about, well, I wake up late, so about 11. And then I'd finish it about like, 7 or 8 or 9. Yeah, so this is actually the first time she's ever actually seen it cooked.
So let's get your hands in there.
Yeah, you're right.
I've been the owner of Front Range CrossFit for 13 years now, and we got in the very competitive part of CrossFit. And so fueling became just really critical for kind of the performance, to bring out the best performance in our athletes. And so I've always loved to cook, and that's been kind of where great ingredients, Loras Lean, like that quality ingredient makes such a big difference, both in what you're cooking, but also as an athlete to really bring out the best. Then when Jill came into the gym and she was diagnosed with cancer, this, having all these like organic ingredients, great quality ingredients to help her through her battle with cancer, it just became even more important. Starting off, I refer to it as building a soup. You don't just get to throw all the ingredients. The order that it happens matters, and how you do it. So we're starting off by searing 12 chicken breasts. It's 9 quarts, so you're gonna adjust it according to how many people you're cooking for and how much you want to make. 2, 4, 6, good. So we're gonna sear that and start the flavor of that really building up in the pot.
What'd you put on that?
So that's just roasted garlic herb gromites from McCormick. And so we're gonna brown all the chicken. We won't cook it all the way through because then when we get it boiling with everything else, then it'll cook all the way through on that once the chicken is. But we want to brown it and kind of get the flavors going. A little bit of olive oil and chicken breast.
Because my wife is a CrossFitter,
Yep.
and during the off season, away from the Olympic Training Center, I still needed to work out, and that's where Skip and Frontline's CrossFit came into play, and I was able to do my workouts and have fun and have a community when I was away from the team. And fueling is an essential part of my lifestyle as an athlete, and Skip was very passionate about food. So it was a very good relationship initially. And I guess, unfortunately the circumstance was that I got sick in 2014. I was diagnosed with stage 3 synovial sarcoma. And I had some very intense chemotherapy. And the only thing that I could actually keep down for 4 months was Skip's super chicken soup, yeah. And the reason being is that the chicken stock is so easy to drink, very nutrient dense because that's fat and minerals from the bones, and has the protein, and really made me feel energized. And it was the only thing I could keep down, probably because
there wasn't a whole lot.
Easy digested. It was easy to digest,
Yep.
I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to the broth except like it's liquid
Water.
nutrient. Yeah. And then it's just
Water and chicken.
yeah.
My goal is to make it back to Rio for the 2016 Olympics. So fueling and nourishing my body even during the hardest times is going to be important.
Yep.
Because I still worked out. So after treatment,
Right.
I would still come to the gym and say, Skip, what's my workout?
Yeah.
And so we would do it.
Yeah. She'd come in like in between treatments and come in and I'm like, what are you doing here? Like, chill. It's like I gotta do something. So she'd come in, do a workout. It was awesome, and it was incredibly inspirational for everybody in the gym. Whenever she was working out, she's in the middle of chemo, no hair, like just there working out hard, and it was really cool watching for our community to see that, because it's like, really, what's your excuse? Yeah, I don't want to hear about it. Jill's here, and so then it would be, yeah, that was really a neat part of, just for the community aspect of it, to see somebody that like is so passionate about working out, staying in shape, and training for a goal. Obviously, Rio 2016 is a big goal, but even in the darkest times, like you were still there working out. That was awesome. Part of this is building on the flavors. Is we add the chicken stock back in, and even at this beginning part right here. So we'll let that simmer. Turn that back up a little bit. We'll let that simmer in there for like 3 or 4 minutes. I know it smells so good. It smells so good. And then we'll do that again with the second set of the chicken breasts. But we'll let that cook down a little bit, just building on the flavors over and over and over again. So now we're getting all the stuff from sticking to the bottom of the pot.
We only eat organic food. Now I will tell you that most of her meals were Lorsley chicken breast and kale. Like, I would make that 3 or 4 times a week, and that's like what she was craving. So high protein, lots of kale and minerals, and now, and August came out 8 pounds and 7 ounces, so he was a big boy, and he's got, you know, he got some baby biceps, and we do hashtag baby gains. So yes, we are very mindful in terms of what we feed ourselves, so that August has the best nutrients coming towards him.
Because Carol, I mean, everything like Carol eats, he eventually gets.
That's right.
So like feeding Carol super healthy is important.
So everyone say
pork
that.
chops?
Oh my god, dude! Like, I make really good pork chops.
Oh yeah, I believe you.
I'm telling you. And chicken breast. I feel like the chicken breast I can never get dry. So
It's funny.
It's not a bad problem to have.
It's weird. Like,
The best at everything.
yeah, that's right.
Number 1, first episode. That's why I did it on purpose. It's my ego.
I will say that it's amazing. You know, when we get Laura's lean chicken breast, like roasting it is realistically is totally different
Yeah.
than a lot of other chicken breasts that I use because.
Well, why do you use another chicken breast?
Because they
First of all,
only send me
backtrack.
they only send me 3 pounds a month.
Right. And because you're making, you
Up
know,
that.
We can help
9 quarts every
right.
time you make something.
It's true. Because I use it all for one batch of soup. No, but like but realistically, it is amazing how, like, you can totally taste the difference between when I cook with this versus anything else.
Yeah.
It is really truly amazing. The quality ingredients, how big of a difference the quality ingredients make.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so now, let's see, that's what I use this for. These go in here. We're gonna dice these up in a little bit.
That's my job.
That's your job. And so they won't be cooked all the way through with that yet. So they cook all the way through at that point. Right now, we're just building the flavors. So the next batch goes in.
I
And
really
then let that cook. And you get just
Can I do it?
whatever you want.
Yeah?
Go.
Okay.
Perfect.
Being a new mom is really the best thing I've ever done. So the Olympics, all that, professional athlete is nothing compared to being a new mom. So I feel really grateful to be a mom because I didn't think it was an option for us. So I'm just happy that we can do it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think for me and for my wife and for August, fueling ourselves is important, but to keep myself healthy and cancer free, I believe in having, high quality foods. So to fight cancer or anything that can come up, and if you take care of your body, it will take care of you too. And yeah, that's what I believe. I would say, I love baby giggles.
What'd you say?
When he laughs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, and his gummy smile, Every day is something different as he explores the world and sees new things, and he discovers, touch and textures and grasping, and it's fun. It's like all the time something new for him.
Something new,
and,
right? Yeah.
There's
That's cool.
always firsts,
Right.
And he's a true athlete because he has great head control, I will say. So I think he's,
Yeah, he's well on his way. Well on his
That's
way.
right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like that.
When's he gonna be able to eat real food?
They say 6 months.
Yeah? Is that when
Yeah.
when they start introducing?
Right. And then puree, but I
Right.
also heard that was so outdated, so I need to take a class.
Do a little research, take a class.
What do they
Yeah.
suggest now? Like solids?
Solids, but like small bites, I think. So I'm not sure if that's true because I haven't taken the class yet.
Yeah.
Carol and I love cooking together, and so I'm in charge of the meat, I would say, most of the time, and she's my sous chef, so she does all of the chopping. So if our guest is chill,
Does she know
We
you're
cook
referring to
together.
as your sous chef?
She does now.
yeah, I mean,
Edit.
Sorry, Carol.
she's a great chopper. She's a little tornado.
Yeah, okay.
You know, and I'm an OCD clean person, so I love you, babe. I will clean up behind her as she.
So that's one of the reasons why I cook in big batches, because then we take mason jars and I take all the leftovers and we freeze them. It's not horrible. Yeah. So
That's
so
chicken
like
soup, isn't it?
so that is chicken soup.
Yeah.
That might be beef. I have a.
No, it's
that's
chicken soup with this.
Oh, it's chicken soup. No, no, it's beef soup. Maybe with Laura's lean. Yeah. So like I make huge batches, and then we call them mason jar meals, and so she can literally like if I'm not going to be home for dinner because I'm coaching or teaching somewhere, like she could just literally just take this out in the morning, put it on the table, and then she's got a dinner that night. She puts it in the microwave, puts it in a pot, heats it up, and she's got a great meal. And so like literally everything I make is in that pot. And so we have tons of leftovers all the time, freeze them. It's a great way to always have good food on hand, regardless of whether you had time to cook that night. So a lot of times on still Saturdays or Sundays, I do a big batch of something, freeze the rest of it. We have dinner, that's our dinner that night, and freeze the rest.
Yeah, no excuses.
Nope. If you do a little bit of planning ahead, like you can always have great food on hand. And like, you know, we're talking about, I liked how you're talking about fueling for your newborn.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you don't have to be a CrossFit Games athlete or an Olympian to want to fuel with good food.
As an athlete, and right now I'm transitioning from player to referee, fueling is still very much important. So high quality protein, especially after matches, or high volume workouts, or even low volume workouts, anytime you're active, having that protein to be the building blocks of your muscle, your lean muscle, and recovery. So no, because for me, it was PB&J were carbs and enough sugar and fat to keep me like easy to digest, but keeps my belly enough that I can run and sprint without a problem. I mean, to be honest, I would have chicken for the lunch. So peanut butter and jelly sandwich for breakfast. Because I was nervous.
Okay, we can't use any of this. None of this can be used.
I mean, it's true. I mean, that's what I had. And then between games, I would have chicken. Or honestly, now that I referee a lot, I keep the Laura's Lane drink in my bag, and that's what I use for recovery.
Okay, we're gonna add stuff.
Yeah.
Want to grab the onions?
Oh. Yay!
And so the chicken is out, and now we're gonna add in a little bit of olive oil. I just added a little olive oil, and then all of them. Oh. Yep. Just in there, and we're gonna that flavor that we built in with all that chicken that already cooked. You can see everything coming off the pot and up into the onions. And so we're not gonna add any more, literally zero more, just a little bit of moisture to keep the cast iron from burning. You know, kind of like getting stuck to it. And so whenever I sweat onions, I always add a little bit there, just to keep them sticking to the pan. But no more. Other than that little bit of spice we added earlier on the chicken, that's the only. And a lot of times. So I make a version of this soup and I give it as Christmas presents to all of my coaches, and so with this, I've never had salt because I don't know how salt. How some people like it, some people don't, whatever. So most of the stuff I cook, it's got a lot of flavor, but it doesn't necessarily have a lot of salt in it. And then they can do that like when they get it. Very, very low salt stuff. Most of my recipes are very low salt stuff. Yeah, I just started to really make a lot of shepherd's pie.
Okay.
And that has been, with the ground beef, that has been phenomenal. So good. Beef stock, what else? Worcestershire sauce. I never pronounced that right. And then, I don't even know if there is a right on that. And then, I saute that and then put in the carrots and peas. I actually hadn't made mashed potatoes in so long. I didn't have anything to mash it with. So I had to like run out and get a hand masher.
Oh boy,
And, yeah.
I use a blender.
Yeah.
And stock. You can use beef stock or chicken stock.
I don't know.
Oh, life hack.
But yeah, that has been phenomenal. For our Christmas, we have our the gym Christmas party this Saturday, and we are smoking Laura's lean brisket and ribeye roasts.
Okay, so what I need to do is bring over some of
Yeah,
my
like my mouth's totally.
so
What's
that you can smoke it.
Yeah,
I'll bring over
yeah,
some
sure,
of my,
sure.
some of my beef.
Yeah, we have. So we're gonna smoke 2 huge briskets, and then 4 like ribeye roasts about that big.
Yes.
It's so good.
Well,
You've had the ribeye roast.
Yeah. I mean, what day is it?
Yeah, it's Saturday.
Okay, I'll be there.
After 7. Kind of early in the CrossFit Games world, we used to do training camps. And so we would have 22 people come in from all over the country and train at Farm Range CrossFit. So, and we would provide lunch and dinner. So all they did, they'd come in the morning, they'd train hard. They'd do a CrossFit training session, a skill session, a lifting session, and then they're like starving.
Yeah.
So we provided all their food. And so it started back then with like how often we would make these huge meals. My brother and I would do it, and then when we went to the games, early games, they weren't really well, like, they weren't supported. They weren't well supported. It was literally like, it started out as a barbecue at Dave Castro's ranch, right? So in the middle of nowhere, there's no support whatsoever, so we had to provide our own support. So we would always, when we went out there, like for 4 or 5 years, we had between 10 and 12 athletes at the CrossFit Games every year. And we would provide all the food. And so other people from the gym would go out to cook the food. And it was always so much fun to cook for like this army of people. One year, I think one year it was like 18 people between staff and athletes.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's weird, but I like to cook for a lot of people.
You still do, there's less people.
Correct. Same amount of food. It's just for Jody and I and guests, and now we just freeze it all. It's the same. And it's really cool. I don't get the opportunity that often anymore with just like to have a table with 10 or 15 people all just enjoying the food. My brother still cooks like turkey. He loves to cook Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
To a weird degree. So you want to grab the potatoes, please?
Yeah.
And the potatoes in next. That's right. Yeah. So the potatoes next. I think the onions and the potatoes. I simmer this again with a little bit more chicken stock to keep it from burning, and we'll let that saute. So it's like, so many people make the mistake with soups of just throwing everything in.
Yeah.
And it's like, how you do it is almost as important, as long as you start with great ingredients, how you do it, the order in which you do it, and how you let it all simmer and build over time makes the biggest difference to the soup.
Well, I think what's really cool is that you're able to cook for a large group of people that believe in the same kind of fuel that you do.
Sure.
And that's what I find really enjoyable, is cooking for people that care about their bodies and what they're putting in their bodies. And when you get to do it with 18 people or just 2 or our son, whoever it is, you take so much pride in that. And I think that's really special.
Well, we talked earlier, it's like, so food is love, right? And so when you can't do much more for a person than to provide the sustenance with which they live their lives. And so like I've always thought that, where like when you're cooking for somebody, that's like an expression of love.
I also roast coffee now for a living, and it's really important to, I guess, have the attention to detail, which is very much what Skip is putting in this soup.
Right.
I mean, it's important. So now, Skip, how's this for you, bud? I think mine's are a little bit more cubed than yours.
You're perfect.
Yeah, it has more
Perfect.
uniformity. Thanks. You should always, always try to do something new and pushes you out of your comfort zone. So for me, that's coffee right now. It's being a new mom. It's being a sous chef.
Nice. Could you please cut that for me?
And you know what? I've never used tongs in my life to cut.
Tongs are so cool.
Oh my god.
How do
This
you
is
cut
like a
without
game
tongs?
changer. It's a game changer. So learn something new.
That's right.
That's like a life hack.
It's, I
It's a
love it.
life hack.
I saw a great quote. It's like, nobody can ever pick up tongs and not go. Yep, works.
Great. Just being happy.
Yeah.
I would say, like, I mean, I don't sleep right now.
but when you used to.
Yeah. Or I mean, it doesn't even matter because even if I am not sleeping as much, I still need to fuel my body with the proper like food.
Sure.
So that when I am alert and awake, I can be my best self, and that's important.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed with her chopping. So, get to depth. Right.
So my cutting edge is this part of the knife. And so many people will cut a vegetable and then go like this, down, but you want to flip it. See how that's nice and curved? Boom. And then you're not dulling your edge. So, when you're chopping and you want to be a better chopper, just keep that in mind.
I like it.
Yeah. And use the right knives.
That's true.
Sharp knife.
Although I actually end up using that knife for almost everything. That thing is such a great knife.
It is a nice knife.
The Santoro. The Santoro. It's the greatest knife. I'll take that.
Thank you.
Juice.
You can pour it in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Not wasting a thing.
No, all flavor. So I fill it almost like with all the stuff, and then I keep the, oh, and we need the veggies too. Veggies going last, yep. Oh, it's gonna be close.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, hold on. So now, I'll let this simmer for a little bit, and then I fill it all the way up to the edge with broth. And then when I've got, and I reserve a little bit of broth later, for later on, if I'm like gonna freeze a bunch of it for, I'm gonna freeze a bunch for the mason jar meals. I have another one of these that I set aside, and so I'll fill it, because this is almost all just the stuff in the soup. It's very, not a whole lot of soup, like in terms of liquid stuff. And so then when I fill it up, I'll fill the mason jars up and then fill it with the stock I've kept in reserve. But now I just up to the edge, just like that. And then it cooks for an hour after this. Eat, and didn't have enough mashed potatoes mashed potatoes to cover it, so I just threw it in a mason jar and that's good. That's good.
Sick.
Yeah, that's all good. But yeah, that I can just literally just toss into a little pan about that, cover it with mashed potatoes and go.
Or eat it.
Or just eat it.
Just be a second animal.
Or just eat it cold.
Well, you know, a lot of people don't eat meat with a spoon.
I do. Ground beef I do. But yeah.
You have a better bite.
It's true. But yeah, that's so that and then but I'll fill that up with beef broth and then put that in and then just bake it with potatoes over it. It's so good. So now this thing is complete. Oh, not too hot. That's what it looks like. And we cook it for an hour. And you get, obviously it softens the vegetables and finishes cooking both the chicken and the potatoes. And then what we'll do is, like, Jody and I'll eat it, like one meal. Oh, I have to turn this on for later because I brought good bread so we can have like some soup with
Yes.
fresh baked bread. And I don't bake, so it's gonna. I'll just heat up the bread. But yeah, so it cooks for an hour, and then we'll have one meal with it, and then we'll just freeze the rest of it in those mason jars, and she'll have soup or give it away to the coaches or whatever. But I get a meal and usually like 6 or 7 pint mason jars out of that.
Yeah.
And that's like and a pint is plenty for a person to eat for a dinner. A bit of buttered bread.
Should we get some soup?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got some soup.
No, we were blessed on the day we did. Yeah. Full on aggressive alligator. Thanks very much, sincerely appreciate it. Awesome job. All right, that's it. Episode 1 was amazing. Thank you, Skip and Jill. We appreciate your time and energy. We can't wait to see this. Thank you.
All right, guys, we'll join you next time.
And then
Go.